Hey guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan, and in this video we're going to be talking about makeup products that are a dupe. A lot of these makeup products are dupes of a lot of high-end makeup products. So if you own these, you don't really have to go ahead and buy those high-end products, and you pretty much have a lot of dupes in your collection that perform really good as well. This idea sparked to me when I looked at my makeup collection and I was like, okay, I have so many dupes, and some of these products are dupes of a lot of high-end makeup, like multiples. And so if you have these, you don't really have to buy those products. So I was like, okay, why not make a dedicated video about it? So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So let's get started.
The Amazon Super Summer sale starts from 4th to 8th May. Get minimum 50 to 80% off on 1,000 plus brands.
So the first one I'm going to be talking about is the Insight Professional Primer. Now, if you own this particular primer in your collection, it is like you have a very good pore filling primer and you don't really need to look out and find another one that does the job for you. It's not the best. Certainly there are going to be better alternatives, but I feel like for the price, it's like 99 rupees or 110 rupees, you get such a good pore filling primer, and this is a very, very, very close dupe to the Benefit Professional Primer. And I have a couple of other pore filling primers, but none of it even comes close to this. If you have this, I don't think you need any other like high-end pore filling primer, nor any other affordable pore filling primer. The same thing goes with the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth primer. This is a really nice hydrating primer. It's like super emollient. It hydrates your skin. It just adds a beautiful glow as well. Not something that's extremely shimmery or something like that, but a beautiful glow. And especially if you are someone who has very dry skin, I think you would absolutely love this particular primer. And I feel like, when I look at the Too Faced Hangover RX primer or the Smashbox Primerizer and primers of that category where they are a little bit more like a moisturizing primer, moisturizer cum primer. Every time I look at that, I'm like, my Maybelline Fit Me does a much better job sometimes, and especially for the price. It's like less than half the price of those primers. So this is a dupe for a lot of hydrating primers. So next up, let's talk about foundations. I have quite a lot of foundations in my collection, but this one is something that I have put a rest to for a bit. It's not something I have used a lot. I have used only this much of it because this is my second bottle of it. I'm not able to find a perfect shade match for myself in this particular foundation range. It's a huge range of foundation in terms of shade selection, and sometimes it's just like I'm in between some shades and I'm not able to find my right shade match. But it's what I have on my face right now, and I really like it. I really like how it matches me. It looks like a MAC foundation, maybe even your Too Faced Born This Way foundation. So this can be a dupe for a lot of different high-end foundations. Of course, if you look very close and you're nitpicky about the finish and everything, it might differ from a lot of your high-end foundations, but it is very, very, very close. So if you have this particular foundation, it is like you have a dupe for a lot of your high-end foundations and you get similar finish. It has this very nice dewy, radiant skin-like finish. It photographs beautifully. It has this soft filtered effect as well. I don't really have any filter on, but you can see my skin looks like that, and it doesn't emphasize too much of texture. It looks beautiful on the skin, and it's something I have worn for a lot of different special occasions and photographed myself, and there's no flashback at all. So if you are a bride or if you're a makeup artist and you're still looking at investing in a good foundation, you can definitely look into PAC HD foundation. Now next, moving on to a more matte foundation. It's not something I have spoken about a ton on my channel, but I feel like it's a really good matte foundation. It looks similar to the Too Faced Born This Way matte foundation. This one is the LA Girl Pro Matte Foundation. It's not that dry, clinging matte. It has that subtle demi matte finish to it, but yeah, it is more on the matte side. Can't deny that. But I feel like, when you have this one, you have an alternative to a lot of other matte foundations, and you don't really have to go ahead and buy that. And I really like LA Girl when it comes to the shade range, because I feel like the shade range is very inclusive of undertones. So they have something that is like neutral, they have something that's more pink toned, they have something that is a little bit more warm toned. And especially for Indian skin tones, I feel like you will find a shade match for yourself. They also have those pro mixing pigments. I've got them, but I've still not been able to figure out how to use it. But if you don't really get your right shade match, that I've seen a lot of people use and enjoy using to get their perfect shade match. It doesn't alter the finish of the foundation, but you just have to figure out how to use it. Like the tiniest amount of it sometimes actually wrecks the entire thing. So, and then for a more like skin-like finish, like a tinted moisturizer, something that is similar to your Smashbox Halo Tinted Moisturizer, I have the FACESCANADA 3-in-1 Foundation Moisturizer Sunscreen. This has a little bit more dewy finish than the Smashbox Halo Tinted Moisturizer, but you can just keep it very subtle, light medium coverage, or build it to medium coverage as well, and it just looks like skin. It looks so good. I mean, it doesn't have a very like vast shade range, but it is pretty good. I really like the finish of this, and you can't really make out that you have an affordable product on your skin. And I feel like, if there's going to be more affordable like tinted moisturizers released in the market from the high-end range, this would certainly compete with that. And sometimes I feel like it is even better than a lot of high-end tinted moisturizers and tinted products I've tried out. Like the Smashbox Halo Tinted Moisturizer is my absolute favorite. I love it. But I have tried out some from like Rare Beauty and Fenty. I feel like they are a little bit more like lighter, and they don't really have that pigment, so they just look like barely nothing on your skin. So if you have very good flawless skin, I think you would really like it. Or if you're really going for that no makeup look, you'd absolutely love it. But for me, I want a little bit more pigment, and I want my no makeup, but I want a little bit of coverage as well, like tad bit pigment as well. So that's the reason I actually reach out for the Smashbox one, and this one quite a bit. And then now coming to concealers, you like it or not, you accept it or you deny it. This Insight HD concealer, this is one of the best we have in the affordable market, and it's a blendable concealer. It's what I have on this side of my eye, and I haven't even set it, and I really like how it looks. It gives you really good coverage, medium high coverage, and the shade selection again is very like pro Indian skin tone friendly. Like, I mean the undertones, not the shade range as such. They don't really have a vast shade range. Most of the brands in this price range don't really have very inclusive shade range, but it's pretty good. And also the finish I felt like was similar to my Rare Beauty concealer, my Fenty Beauty concealer, and those were really pricey, and the Rare Beauty one doesn't even stay that well underneath my eyes. So I found this to be a great affordable alternative, and sometimes I don't even set it. It does oxidize a tiny bit, but I don't seem to like mind that. And then another concealer. Okay, I don't know which concealer I can compare this to, not my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, but I feel like this is such a good product, and if you own this in your collection, you wouldn't regret it at all. This one is the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. So I have this one in the shade Tan, and it has this most subtle like dewy finish. You don't really have to even set it. Like, I don't really set it. It doesn't crease as much, doesn't cake, doesn't fade away, doesn't dry my under eye area out, and it doesn't like settle onto the lines or anything. It's a nice serum lightweight concealer, and it's very good for people with dry skin as well. So if you are looking at investing that very good concealer and you don't want to spend a lot, you should definitely look into this one. I know I have talked about this quite a few times, and a lot of these products are repetitive because I love them, and I don't find a point just putting them aside. So if it's good, it's good. And then for a loose powder, I have for the longest time found that the Insight HD Banana Loose Powder is one of the best in the affordable market, and this competes with like my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Powder. I have to accept that that is a little bit unique. And then it's a very lightweight, finely milled loose powder that also has a like subtle glow to your skin. This might not do that, like add that glow, but it's very lightweight and super fine underneath the eyes. And for the price, again, it is so good, and I feel like it's much better than the Laura Mercier loose powder. The Laura Mercier loose powder didn't work out for me. I feel like it was a little bit like heavier for my liking. I prefer the Huda Beauty one. So if I had to compare it to these two loose powders, I felt like this was so much better than the Laura Mercier one, and slightly comparable to the Huda Beauty one. So you also have a dupe. And then I feel like it is a little bit better than the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder. Now the Maybelline Fit Me one has a little bit of pigment. It has that capacity to hold your oil in place. So it is something that is great for people with very oily skin, people living in humid, hot climates, where you want your makeup to last for a really long time. But for me, I personally feel like, most of the times it's not that hot where I live, and I have sort of like normal to dry skin. So I prefer a more lightweight loose powder like this one. And then let's talk about some blush. Okay, so for blush, I have this one. This is the Daily Forever 52 Juicy Cheeks blush. Again, I haven't tried out a lot of liquid blushes from the high-end range, okay, but from whatever I have tried out so far, I feel like this is so good. It has that pigmentation, it has a blendability, it looks like skin, and it has a decent wear time. It's not the most long wearing blush, but it's also something that I don't build on too much. And you can build on it and it would stay in place for a longer time, but I really like how it looks. It has that nice like subtle dewy finish on your skin, and it's so easy to blend. It is literally something that you can blend within like 15-20 seconds, and you can use a brush as well. It's not something that is high maintenance. So I feel like these are so nice and comparable to a lot of high-end blushes, and you don't really have to invest in high-end blushes if you have a good product like this one. And when it comes to like powder blushes, I feel like the Colorbar Cheekillusion blush in Sweet Scarlet and the K Beauty blush in Soft Nude, I feel like you would find that to be a dupe of a lot of high-end blushes. I don't again have everything in my collection that I could dupe, but I found those to be quite unique. But the formulation I felt was really nice and comparable to my MAC blushes. The MAC blushes are not pigmented like in one go, like one swipe, but those are buildable blushes. These are a little bit more pigmented than those, but again I found them to be really, really nice. And then coming to highlighters, I have the Swiss Beauty Fusion highlighter. This one is in the shade 01. This I found to be very similar to like my Becca Champagne Pop. It has a little bit of that champagne gold hints to it, and it's something that you can keep subtle, or you can really intensify it and make it look really nice and beaming on your skin. And again, I find it to be a lot more smoother looking on my skin and much better than the MAC highlighters, the way they look on my skin. I don't personally prefer that intense highlighter, but the shades, and this particular shade I feel like would be a dupe for a lot of different high-end highlighters. And the same thing goes with the Mask Wonder highlighter. I have this one in the shade 0106, I think, Gold Rush, and it's the most soft, subtle golden highlighter, and it's similar to like kind of similar to MAC Oh Darling, and a lot more softer looking on the skin, not as intense as that. And so if you have these kind of highlighters, you pretty much have everything you would need, and you don't really have to go around investing in high-end expensive highlighters. How many of us actually really run out of highlighters? So yeah, expensive highlighters, they come in a big pan, you get a lot of product. It also comes with a hefty price tag. And then another product I have to mention is the Nykaa Strobe and Glow Liquid Highlighter. Now the reason I always talk about this is because it does have shimmer particles, okay, but it's not so stark on your skin. It's not like extremely glittery looking, and it gives you that very like editorial look if you wanted to. If you wanted to photograph yourself, if you wanted to like take these very nice pictures and like model-esque pictures, they just photograph so well, and they even look really nice in person. It's not something that's going to look extremely glittery on your face. It's not something that looks extremely cakey and drying on your face as well. And I've used it so many times, and I've met people in person who are like, okay, what's that glow on your face? It looks really nice. It doesn't look artificial at all. So this is something you should definitely look into if you haven't purchased it from the million times I've already mentioned this on my channel. So I think I will be putting this to a rest for a bit, because I have talked about it quite a few times. The consistency of this is quite thick. It's not something that just, like you can't just drop it out. You actually it's a little bit thick and goopy. You have to apply it like maybe on your brush directly or on the back of your hand and then apply it. But little goes a long way, and it's a beautiful liquid highlighter. I've used this on my body as well so many times, okay? And then when it comes to like contour, I feel like the PAC Takeover concealers, I didn't really like the concealer as much, but the contour shade, like the deeper shade I bought for contouring, I got this in the shade Coffee Bean. It gives you the most natural looking contour. It gives you the most blendable, easy contour. If you were to invest in the Charlotte Tilbury contour, like contour wands or anything else from the market, maybe it would be a little bit too pigmented. Maybe it is a little bit too intense. So you want something that is a little bit more subtle, something that's very easy and on the go. You should definitely try this out. When you apply this on your skin, you will be surprised at how, seamlessly it blends, how lightweight it feels, and how lightweight it looks, because it is a concealer as well. And it's just really nice. I'm not a contour person. I don't even really like to mention a lot of contour products. And if I am talking about that, it really does mean something. And then now speaking about lipsticks, we have this one. This one is the Mars 3 set of 3 lipsticks, and this one is in the brown variant. If you were to like sit and swatch some of your high-end lipsticks, you would find a lot of dupes in this set itself, and not just high-end lipsticks, like some of the KIRO lipsticks as well. You'll find a shade match for that in this set, and this is a really nice formulation. It goes on like really nice and creamy, settles down completely matte, doesn't transpire as much, and stays in place for a really long time. I really like the formulation of that, and it feels high-end. I'm not just talking about like it feeling high-end, I'm also talking about it resembling a high-end product. You know, there are some dupes from this for the Huda Beauty lipsticks, and from their other sets as well. So I will be talking about those dupes in the future video. And then of course the Swiss Beauty HD matte lipsticks, especially the shade Brandy Harrington. There are so many shades that are similar to this, like so many, this shade is similar to so many high-end lipsticks. Right off the bat, I have the Sugar Plum lipstick from Anastasia, which is a shade like this, and you can see Brandy Harrington is exactly like similar to that. This is Anastasia and this one is Brandy Harrington. They're really similar. So not just the Anastasia lipstick, if you were to swatch Sugar Brandy Harrington next to like KIRO Nude Garnet, Nika Jade Rose, Sugar Brandy Harrington, they are very, very similar shades. And so if you own this one particular bullet, it's like you own a couple of lipsticks. So I have a lot of shades that are now similar, and I could have just like invested in this one shade, but that's not my job. My job is to find out, okay, what are all the similar shades. So that's the reason I sit and buy everything. So yeah, even the formulation of this is really good. It is really nice and pigmented, very like non-drying, long-lasting. So formulation-wise, shade-wise, the shade range-wise as well, you will find these lipsticks to be similar to a lot of high-end lipsticks. Similarly, they have shades called Murphy Brown, Dynamite Berry. So Dynamite Berry is quite similar to MAC Diva. Murphy Brown is quite similar to MAC Sin. And so any lipstick in that category and that shade range, you pretty much have a dupe for in these. And the same thing I feel like goes with the KIRO lipsticks as well, like the KIRO darker shades, Dark Currant, Dusky Grape, the shade Cinnamon Nude, and all of that. These are very similar to a couple of high-end lipsticks, like the MAC lipstick in Carnivorous. You have a dupe for that from KIRO itself. And so the KIRO lipsticks, again, the deeper shades, they are super nice, pigmented, long wearing, comfortable on the lips. They don't go on patchy at all. So you wouldn't actually find the need or the urge to buy a high-end lipstick. And especially when you buy the MAC lipsticks, the Retro Matte Liquid lipsticks, you'd find that the deeper shade like Carnivorous or Hydra go on a little bit patchy. They're not the most comfortable on the lips, but these just feel like nothing on the lips. And I'm someone who's like 24/7 with dry lips, and it doesn't even emphasize the dryness or flakiness on my lips. That's how much I like these KIRO products. Okay, and then now talking about the last product, mascara. I wanted to talk about a Maybelline mascara, the one that comes in that silver tube, Sky High, no, Lash Sensation, Temptation. What is that mascara? I'll leave it right here on the screen. I can't quite remember that mascara, and again, I feel like that one mascara pretty much like fulfills my collection. It completes my collection, and I don't find the need to buy a lot of mascaras, although I do end up buying it. But you know, I feel like it's similar to the Too Faced mascara. It's better than the Too Faced better than Sex mascara, Damn Girl mascara, and the Smashbox mascaras, even the Smashbox Superfan mascara and everything was such a big disappointment, and I was like, my Maybelline mascara is so much better than this. The Mass Fabulash mascara is so much better than this. So that's how you feel. So last but not the least, we have the PAC Micro Finish Makeup Fixer. I'm not saying that the finish is exactly similar to a lot of high-end setting sprays that I own. Like the MAC Fix Plus maybe adds a little bit more of like a hydration, glowiness to your skin. The Anastasia setting spray is a little bit more different as well. So the Pixie setting mist are again completely different. But I feel like, you know, in terms of like setting your makeup in place without it being too messy, without it you know, spritzing the product out unevenly, and like having like that setting mist run down on your face, and you can see the droplets and the initial spray as well, like the droplets, like where it settled down on your face. So all of that you easily avoid when you use this PAC Makeup Fixer, because the nozzle disperses the product so nicely, so evenly, and it's just so user friendly. So every time I use a setting spray that is not PAC, I have to make sure that I use it right before my mascara, because I don't want to have my mascara run down. Even if I cover my eyes, it's like somehow gets in and then it just messes up everything, or like it splits the product differently. So I make sure to use it right after my foundation so that not a lot of my base is done. So I can like, you know, easily avoid all of that and make it a little less hassle free for me when I use this particular makeup fixer. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk to you guys about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got the point of this video. So it's also to help you save money, and it's not like always, you know, you have to go ahead and buy high-end makeup to get a certain finish, certain color, certain like look. You can always look at the affordable market, and that's one of my point in doing this video. So let me know if you enjoyed this and found it helpful, and also if you want to watch any other video, please let me know in the comment section down below what is that I have to film next. And while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one.